I don't even think.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Civil War PodCast. Today, joining us, we have Hemingway, our new tryout. Let's see how this goes for his first podcast. We got Matt, which you can see him as a moderator in the chat.
Yo!
We have General August Valentine Couch, the one, the only.
Hi!
Hey! And, of course, you have me, Red Runner 328. How is everybody doing today? Beef Stew already jumping in. Wow, our view count shot up, boys. It's because I'm wearing the Colonel's coat. They know who's in charge.
Good morning, Beef.
How's it going,
Good morning,
Beef?
everyone.
Hemingway, why don't you start us off, bud?
I'm not really sure where you want me to start.
Introduce yourself. First things first, give me your credit card, all the numbers on it, the funny little ones on the back, social security number, address,
Date of birth. Date of birth,
yeah.
Did you have a pet growing
Date
up?
of death.
Date of death, too, yeah, that'd be helpful.
Did you have
Need
a
to know
did
your
you have
mother's maiden name?
did you have a pet growing up?
And what
I had
was its
multiple
name?
pets growing up.
We'll need the name of your first doggo.
Never owned a dog. Multiple cats. A couple snakes here and
One of
there.
them named Mittens?
Why is he?
Yes, I did have a cat named Mittens.
I am a psychic, then.
Seeing as how you did not have any dogs, what is your favorite dog breed?
Oh, husky. A purebred husky.
Hmm.
I love them.
At
But all
least
dogs are
not a
good
dude.
doggos.
Yeah,
Except Chihuahua.
huskies. Gotta love them
I
huskies.
could never own a Chihuahua.
Gotta love them huskies, right, boys?
Yeah, they're pretty nice. I'm a beagle man myself.
Red will be
so-
right back because someone's calling him.
Hey, Beagles!
Beagle! Now, can you please give us the funny little numbers on the back of your credit card? Come on, I'm waiting. I have my pen already.
It's 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. That's very generic, but good numbers. Very vocal dogs? Yeah, I like that about dogs.
They're not as vocal as Chihuahuas, though. I swear those things are demons.
I beg to differ.
They are.
Chihuahuas are not demons, but I gotta disapprove of the husky remark.
Love huskies.
I had a husky
I
sink
don't
its
know how you
canine
can't love a
alarm.
husky.
Bryce will be here soon, apparently. He's in the middle of grandmother things.
I do believe that I feel a similar fashion to Huskies as I do about Pitbull.
Hey, pit bulls are amazing.
Pit bulls are my second favorite breed.
I just don't see the allure.
They're beautiful.
They're nice dogs. They're not all
They're-
angry, crime-ridden
No,
ones.
They're
I'm not
amazing dogs
saying-
and they're amazing protectors. They are very, very.
I'm not saying anything bad about pit bulls. I'm not saying all pit bulls are evil. That would be just the same thing as saying that all white people are evil. It's racist,
Hey.
and I don't do that. Okay, I don't see the allure to them.
It's Archer!
Hey, Archer.
How's it going, Archer?
Good morning. What time of day do you think it is? It's morning all the time.
Guten Morgen.
someplace in the
Guten
world.
Morgen. Herr Archer.
Guten Morgen.
The first VA? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's like 3 o'clock for Archer because he's a soy boy from Cali.
Cali, chick. I believe we'll just let anyone in on this, won't we?
He pays almost as much taxes as a New Jerseyan would.
I don't want to hear about taxes until you live in Vermont.
What's your taxation rate?
I
Too
want to
much.
say, yeah.
Anyhow,
I think
boys, we're
it's
getting
too
off
much.
track. We're getting off track, but we are 1 for 1 with the likes, so that means Red will crack open a cold one.
Yay!
Shot per like.
I have
Shot
nothing
per
to shoot.
like.
I would if I had a
Shot.
bottle of Di Serono, but I do not.
Oh my god, I almost died that night.
Shot per sub. Shot per
Oh, no. Like, that's how we'll be talking. If that was true, that's how I'll be talking before the night's done. Just have like drool running down my face. Just,
I don't think you'd be talking by the end of the night.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be words. It would just be like, Ah!
I don't think your heart would be making noises.
Your heart would stop beating.
I mean, wait, my heart wouldn't be talking anymore? No! Little buddy! Those of you who are interested, the 5 of us who are interested,
Okay.
tonight we are coming live from the reenacting closet. The closet where I keep all my reenacting gear, the desk where I do all my research, several fine books, writing utensils, ashtray, candles, gauntlets, tinware, hooks, watches, dream catchers, rabbit pelts.
The cool stuff.
Yes. See, rabbit pelts right there.
We should bring your rabbit pellet so I can see it. I can't see it.
I ain't getting it down because it's a bitch to son of a gun to hang up. But there's the rabbit pelt.
I like that.
That's
I
my
want that.
that's my pillow at events.
Gruesome.
So this week's
Pillow
Civil War
cover at
podcast is sponsored by none other. I'm going to say this is an unofficial sponsor by CNC Sutlery. Go check them out. They're amazing people. They're very kind. I got this frock coat from someone who said they got it from CNC, so that's even better.
Just about all my gear is from CNC.
That's true.
He's
for
a
me.
fine butler indeed.
He is, and he's extremely kind. If you order a jacket, and let's say you accidentally ordered a size too small, no issue.
I get
Contact him. Ask him, hey, can I exchange this for one bigger? More than likely, he won't even charge you for the shipping. He'll just say, yeah, send it back.
Charge me for the shipping? Are you kidding me?
He didn't charge me nothing, but then again, he knows me by name.
He knows me by name too.
Wonderful fellas over there. Wonderful
Yes.
fellas. They actually, CNC, the guy that's now in charge of it, his father actually helped a friend of mine recreate a uniform for a British Zulu, which is something that they don't do typically.
Cool.
Also, for the movie The Magnificent Seven, they provided a lot of the outfits.
Yes.
I think that bear was wearing people's clothes.
You know what? There's a movie, boys, we need to watch after this.
That's what we have to
Yes,
watch.
The Ridiculous Six.
I nominate that for movie night.
The Ridiculous Six.
No, that was from Magnificent Seven.
I'm saying we
That-
need to
that
watch
was-
The Ridiculous Six during movie night.
Well,
Damn it,
sure, we can
Arthur.
watch Ridiculous Six. Language.
I said, damn it. He's leaving us because he's dirty.
He's a dirty boy.
No es bueno.
Okay, so what are we doing? Are we on a live stream or not? I'm confused.
Yes, we
We
are
are
live. man.
live.
We are
We have
live,
been
yes.
live.
Ah,
Ah,
I know that. I'm just messing around, you know.
no, you're not. We know you're lying.
Okay. Well, shall we get started, Ridley Runner?
By your leave, Private Digger.
By my leave, what the hell is this?
There's gonna be a boy who gets his butt spanked if you don't watch his language.
I said hell. You want me to say heck instead?
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Preferred. It's actually HE double hockey sticks, sir.
I like
Toothpicks.
straws.
Toothpicks, okay? We don't want to get that extreme.
Okay, I guess we'll get started then. We might as well.
Yeah, I guess. These people came here for a show, and I guess we gotta provide one.
Damn it, sponsors.
All these people wanting content. Ooh.
All these people wanting content. Hope we have good enough reenactors and historians in the chat. That'd be. Oh no, Bryce is here.
Oh, no!
How's it going, Bryce?
I'm good. I'm a little late.
Gotta pick one or the other. Either YouTube or Grandma. Can't have both.
I think I'm all right now.
Fair enough. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, okay, yes. Last weekend, I attended my first event in a long, long time because of work and virus and stuff like that. And this was specifically meant for authenticity's sake, as you know, authenticity is kind of dwindling in this modern world of reenacting.
Yes.
Because, people just not caring too much, and movies that kind of reintroduce myths and farbs and stuff like that into it. So basically, my unit, Seventh New Jersey, decided to host a authentic training camp, in a sense. And I will say, I learned a lot of things that we will be discussing tonight.
Matt, sorry to interrupt, but didn't you say that 4 people died at this training camp during bayonet drill? They just weren't good enough with the bayonet?
Yeah, two pillows died, and I died, and another kid died, so yeah.
How did you die?
Let's have a moment. Hold on, wait, let's have a moment of silence for those fallen pillows. Those men are easy to replace, but those fallen pillows.
Pillows are hard to come by. A good pillow is hard to come by.
I feel for those pillows, man.
I thought it was a moment of silence. Hemingway.
Yes.
I like how Hemingway just chuckles, and then you're like, "I shall scream." Let's have a moment of silence.
Yeah, apparently I caught COVID 1861 and started bloating on the Turkey Mound, so yeah.
They said that because you're chubby.
Hey,
I'm allowed to say it too. I'm a chubby boy.
we're all chubby at heart, mate.
We're already fat shaming.
Shut
Okay,
up,
right.
Bryce. You're skinny as a twig.
Yeah, thank you.
Bryce, you weigh 30 pounds soaking wet, so don't even.
Can't even afford the food to get fat. Get out of here, Bryce. Dirty reb.
Yeah, if you want, I posted the picture on the Discord a while back of the burial detail we did, so yeah. If you want to look at that, go ahead. Maybe I'll repost it.
I would, so I can get a fresh image of it.
Yeah, I'll do that right now, and I'll keep talking like a rambling idiot.
That's what our podcasts are.
Is it? Wait, hang on.
So we have a
One
subject 5 minutes later. Guys, I saw this turtle the other day.
Yeah, exactly. But
It was a beautiful turtle.
Speaking of turtles, I did save a turtle near my house from getting ran over.
shouldn't make do it.
Little guy didn't thank me or nothing. I wanted to keep him and name him Tank because he liked to swell up like a tank.
Why didn't you?
Dad said no when I was 12.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Authenticity. It is dying within the reenacting hobby, and I think we can all attest to that.
Yes. I personally am trying to get more field equipment. Like, you see all these camps and stuff that have, stoves and Dutch ovens. You also got, if we're doing a campaign style, the tents wouldn't really be there. So I think that should be one of the few luxuries we allow ourselves. But
I'm fine with how you tent your tentage, but everything else,
the major big cooking setups for infantry company, it's like they wouldn't have that.
True.
So that's why I got my where'd it go? Where is it? Well, anyway, I got my mess kit from CNC because that's something a soldier would have had.
Yes, they would have most likely they would have been issued, all the pickings for it, but eventually they would have downsized it because, pounds equals pain.
And I have I think I have all the appropriate things for early war. I mean, I got my knapsack, my mess kit, all the new kit a soldier would have. And then later war, in my haversack, I got my canteen half, my little fold together utensils, my cup, my coffee, which, by the way, if anybody's curious, they would carry coffee and a cup because they would almost every time a soldier would stop, they would drink coffee.
Yep.
Coffee was like the soda pop of the time.
Yeah, because mainly they were like, coffee gives you healing powers and doesn't make you sick. When in reality, all they did was boil. If they just boiled the water, they would have been fine. They didn't need the coffee.
Yeah, but coffee gave it a little extra flavor.
Mm-hmm. There are some notes of soldiers chewing coffee beans on the march for a little bit of energy too.
Eating coffee beans. I also forgot I had these. I gotta find the rest of them, but I have. Let me move my Killians here. I have a few medical bottles here.
Ah.
Yes. Gotta find the rest of them though. They're around here somewheres. They probably.
That's the fun part of reenacting. Where did it go?
Yep. Hey, I just had it sitting here. Where is it? It's probably in Wonderland with Alice right now. But I have. Let's see. Blue mass pills. I have some laudanum. I also have the ones I can't find are 2 different bottles of opium. I got cathartic pills, which I believe those are for malaria.
Quinine.
That's it, right here, quinine, yeah. These are malaria pills. Fun fact that they tasted so horrible that when they were issued out, they were often given with whiskey.
Yeah, because if you've ever, you can treat malaria kind of at home, but it's not really advised. You can treat it with tonic water.
Yes.
As long as it has quinine in it, you can treat yourself.
They would issue it with whiskey. One, it encouraged the men to do so because they got an extra whiskey ration, some alcohol, which during the time you have that alcohol, well, yeah, let's go.
Yes.
Whiskey is a man's best friend.
An Irish
Actually, a Civil War man's best friend.
I'm actually in the process of collecting everything that I would need, and then I'm going to construct a period-correct first aid box.
There you go.
Hey.
General, do we have a medical officer?
We have a temporary medical officer that can fill in some. He is not full-time with the staff, no.
Damn.
You know what I just realized Red hasn't done in a while?
What hasn't Red done in a while?
Showed off his weapons.
Remember what happened last time you did that?
You
saw
remember
his
the last time
Liberator
you did
rifle
that?
last week.
Well, what y'all don't see is actually behind the computer, 2 sabers, 2 carbines, 2 rifles. Right there's a bayonet. Right up here are 4 revolvers. I don't think there's anything behind me. Multiple swords and knives right there. Tomahawks under the cot, the broken cot. Knives all right there. Swords on the wall. Sword right there. Sword hanging from the ceiling. And a Scottish dirk.
With all these
Actually,
things, who needs a girlfriend?
the dirk, I think I can show off.
With all these things, who needs a girlfriend?
What?
With all these things, who needs a girlfriend, you know?
I know, these things are loyal.
Yeah. Do you want me to keep talking about authenticity stuff, or just show off your weapons?
Go ahead. Keep talking. You're doing well.
Okay. Well, first things first. What would you consider to be perfectly normal authenticity stuff, and what kind of stuff would you consider to be like Stitch Nazi type stuff?
Oh, like the extremists?
Like extreme authentic campaigners.
When you show up to an event and they inspect everything down to your undergarment, that I believe that is unnecessary.
Checking if your stitching is period correct on a patch job.
Yep.
Or checking to see if anything has been machine stitched.
Checking the length of your stitches.
Oh my! Yeah, you know, I had one of the guys who did a lot of the authenticity stuff. He wanted to see my new frock coat, and I got it from CNC Sutler budget line. He was like, "This is actually not that bad." And someone from across the camp was like, "Stitch Nazi." It was actually really funny. And he's like, "Oh, go suck a lemon."
Hey, some people like lemons, like Jackson and Gods and Generals. Not too sweet.
I was talking with the fella that Red and I both know, JR, and he was my value line, general's frock. After I got it and wore it to the Civil War riverboat cruise that the 4th put on, and he was looking at it. It's actual English broadcloth, has good velvet on the cuffs. He was looking at it. He's like, "Man, that is high quality. What is it?" And I told him, talking about the stitching, the fact that they stitched almost every day back in the day by hand. Their stitching was so good that it looks like almost modern day machine stitching. So I do not see the point in having everything hand stitched for authenticity, because, and even back then they had sewing machines, they just weren't in mass production setting.
Yeah. Technically, most coats, they were either hand sewn or they would be machine sewn, depending on the manufacturer. But buttons were always hand sewn.
And buttonholes, yes.
Yeah, they were always hand sewn because they were much more cosmetic type stuff, you know?
More meticulous.
Yeah.
For those of you curious, though, there is actually a proper way to have these buttons on. It is not to have them stiff. They're actually made to be hanging like that.
Have them loose. Yeah, always loose, little loose.
I always like to wear.
It's easier to get it through the buttonhole.
I always like to wear mine tight, but that's usually because I have to buy coats that are a little bit too big because of my shoulders. So it kind of helps pins it. If
you have an issue with the shoulders, it's because they sewed the sleeves on wrong. You actually have to pin the shoulder in a little bit.
Well, no, I just have broad shoulders for my physique.
Yeah, your coat's CNC, right?
No, actually, I got this from our quartermaster. Funny enough.
What you said is it kind of looks like you're wearing shoulder pads. That means the shoulder was made in a funny way because they expect you to be wearing like a bunch of stuff underneath. So you might have to. Basically, what you do is you pull on the seam, pull it in like half an inch, and sew that. That'll correct a lot of stuff.
I like it as is, though. It looks good. It might look like I'm wearing shoulder pads just because I got my boards up.
Yeah. Well, you're a colonel and a captain and a private
and a lieutenant.
I'm only a private.
I'm a private too. It's okay.
Do you want a job? I'm hiring.
I'll take that job. I don't mind.
What's the job?
You get promoted to sergeant.
I'm done with that.
I'll pass. I'm happy being a private.
I like being a private
then
too.
You can be a private.
But
Digger, we need you to be a sergeant because we need somebody to be in charge of the guards.
I could do that. Am I allowed to yell at you?
You know what? I'm kind of disappointed at Darkwood. Our Berdan took his promotion too well.
He did. I was fully expecting a lot of kicking and screaming.
Yeah, no, he was just like, wow, yeah, awesome. It's like, oh.
That's because he got a bunch of cool new stuff.
Yeah,
you gave him stuff?
He got a new pistol and sword.
Oh, lightweight.
His son, actually, our quartermaster, our major, presented him with his new stripes. And me being the resident weapons specialist, I guess we could say.
Didn't I present him with the stripes and the sash?
I thought it was our quartermaster.
He walked up with me, but I was the one that gave him the. I think I gave him the sword, the baldric, the belt, the stripes, and the sash.
No. I gave him the sword.
Who gave him the sword?
I did. I gave him the sword and the pistol.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I gave him the sash and the stripes then.
But I believe the quartermaster told me to give those to him. I think he said because I'm the resident weapons specialist. I know how to use them. I think he said.
That's fair. I can see that.
I know my way around some cling clang weapons.
Cling clang, cling clang.
From here on out, it is no longer swords. It is cling clang weapon.
Long live the cling clang.
Okay, bro.
I cling clang.
No one. I tell you what, though, no one has actually seen me actually use a blade except for one other person, and that's because he was at my house. And he goes, and he snuck one out, and I had one I was already using in the backyard. I was basically just maneuvering with, and he thought he was going to be slick and like draw one of my Scottish Broadhilt on me. I had my 1860s wrist breaker with me because I just got it and I was getting used to like the swing of it with my shoulder and my arm, getting used to it. And he draws that, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So I draw my saber, and he was like, "What? Where'd you get that?" And I said, "A magician never reveals his secrets." And so I'm parrying, I'm blocking all of his strikes. Then in one swift movement, I grabbed my tomahawk I had in my belt because I was also out there throwing my tomahawk. So I quickly grab the blade with my tomahawk, hook it, and I just fling it out of his arm. And as he goes to reach for it, my calf saber is just right up to his neck. And he's like, "How'd you do that?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how I did that. Are you kidding me? Learn on your own."
Red, if I pay you, would you teach me?
You don't have to pay me, dude. I'm just happy to keep the skill of swordplay alive.
Hey.
But I will tell you this, I will not be easy.
I don't expect easy.
Think of it like baseball. You know, when you're learning how to catch a baseball, I don't want to get hit. Well, catch it.
I want to get hit by a sword. Well, you're going to get hit.
Block it. Parry it. You know, that's how the Roman Legion did it. They trained with makeshift mimic swords, twice as heavy as their actual gladius. Same as shields.
Huh.
Were twice as heavy, so that when they were actually using them in combat, it was extremely light for them. They also only fought for 1 minute at a time.
Ah.
Wow, we are at 10 viewers. Wow, okay, nice. You know what that calls for?
Hi, all the new viewers.
You know what that calls for?
Ah.
The lighting of a candle. Who's got the feedback?
What?
Who's got the feedback?
What feedback?
I don't know who that
Bryce
is.
A little staticky.
What?
Bryce is a little staticky. It's like.
Hey, look at that. You can sort of see red better ever since I lit the candle. Not bad candle.
Not bad.
Everybody say hi to my friend Roy. He's also watching right now.
Hi, Roy.
Roy, hello, my friend.
He's also a fellow reenactor.
Cool.
Hey,
I'm back in 1 second. I'm back in 1 second.
I don't mean to alarm anybody, but there's a lady here.
Hi, Tina.
Royal, me lad, how you doing? Tell us about yourself, Roy. Let's get to know each other. Actually, I did lie. There is actually a sword behind me.
How could you lie to us, Red? I had my utmost faith in you, and you just sit there and lie to me.
Question. If you know the truth is going to damage somebody, is it preferable to tell a little white lie?
No.
No.
Really?
Because that little white lie could hurt
policy.
you a lot more damage in the long run.
I think there's two viewpoints to that. Let's say, for instance, they were focusing on something, like a combat scenario, okay? You wouldn't tell someone in the middle of a fight, your brother just bit it. Or someone, you'd wait until after. And if he asked, you would go, yeah, he's fine. Would you not? You would pick the right moment to tell them. So, that little white
The problem
lie.
is, though, is there really ever a right moment to do something like that?
Yes. If you tell him his brother just bit it, that could get more men killed.
And if you're lucky, it's men on the other side.
You don't know that though. He could just break down. Let's say he was a gunner. Well, a gunner in a machine gun nest. See, little white lie could have
Well,
kept you
then
in
the
your
Wiener
mouth.
takes over.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Okay.
See, it all depends on when you're telling the little white lie.
I don't know. I cannot answer that until I'm put into that situation.
I have been put in that situation, unfortunately. Not combat, just having to tell a little white lie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just sneezed.
Isn't tight.
So, are we going to continue with the topic, or just keep going with what we're doing?
Oh, no, continue with the topic.
Where else where are we at with the topic?
I believe we were talking about the
We just
extremists
talked
of
about
reenacting.
Stitch Nazis.
Stitch.
Yep.
What would you consider Farb, and what would you consider Stitch Nazi?
Farb, like I said, the huge cooking setups. Now I'm
Let's
looking at
open ours.
I'm looking at that from a historical point of view because if set up huge like cast iron would be great, but if you're doing campaign style and every camp has that set up, that's
Yeah, it's a little bit
'Cause
much.
that means
Now, what would you consider? What would you consider like Stitch Nazi?
Stitch Nazis.
Yeah, what would you consider something besides the Stitch Nazi saying it in and of itself? What would you consider to be like, oh, that's overboard?
Now, like overboard Stitch Nazis, or like people who are just, that's
Just
not right.
ridiculous ones. Just like, oh, come on, you're gonna ruin it because of that.
I think, guys, that we should probably refrain from using the
Yeah,
the
that's
National
fair. I don't
Socialist
think
Party.
YouTube.
I think we need to change it to thread counter dead.
Let's just call it threadmongers.
Yeah, I don't think
Fair
YouTube
enough.
would approve.
All right,
Right,
What would
that's
you consider
all I'm
being-
thinking.
What would you be considered threadmonger?
I have
The
seen
ones
this.
that come up and will degrade every little thing about a uniform, and they've got the money, they can go out and get the exactly right stuff that costs $1,500 for a coat,
Bingo.
and want to complain when you can't afford to pay that much for a coat. You're
I
starting off with a $70 sack coat with possibly not the 100% correct buttons, but they from 20 feet they look the part.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you. The people I have seen this that go up and have actually taken off someone's knapsack because they had a blanket roll instead of a greatcoat.
Amazing.
I'm like, the audacity. Let someone come
see,
up
when
and try to take my
I'm-
greatcoat. Try to take my knapsack.
If I'm portraying infantry impression and it's like April or May,
Yeah.
I'd be like, it's April or May. I've obviously already dumped my greatcoat on the side of the road, so
Yes.
I'm gonna be put.
You're honestly considering getting rid of your knapsack, and that blanket roll is looking more and more friendly each passing day.
Oh yeah. But now the one thing we did talk about is how authenticity. I'm talking about like, one thing that really has been a downturn for events is the fact that some people have the lack of authenticity or the lack thereof of willingness to put the work in for an impression.
Yeah. Not actually
We can all agree
learn
with that.
the history of, like I said, I believe I have the proper gear to portray just about any point of the Civil War.
Mhm.
But
one thing we did talk about was one thing that I think we can all try to strive for is a close to spot on outfit, right? I think we can all agree a close enough to spot on outfit. I'm not talking threadmonger, properly sewn everything. I'm talking like look good, feel good.
yes, what I do like, honestly, is when people do have jackets that are like too big, like especially enlisted jackets that are too big or a little bit too small, because not everybody's uniform fit.
Yeah, there's three sizes.
There were exactly. There were three sizes. There was
too big,
too
too
small,
small,
and didn't
don't
fit.
fit at all.
Unless you're an officer, in that case, more than likely.
You
It
had
was-
the money to go and get it tailored.
Yeah, you had the money to put in an
Yeah.
order for a perfectly tuned coat.
Well, another thing, sack coats are not supposed to look good.
No,
No, they're supposed
And
to
they're
look beat
also-
up.
if you want to be authentic, they should be lined because 2/3 of all sack coats were lined.
Now, my
Yes,
sack coat here,
Field blouses.
my sack coat here, I don't know if you can see it, but there is still dirt stain on there from all the times I've worn it. There is dirt stain, dirt encrusted on it. It looks disgusting, and that's good.
Yeah.
Because that's what
No,
it should look like.
I'm saying it's not supposed to be a nice looking coat as far as fitting well. It's because they were just literally just a sack.
It
were
should look. Honestly, I think the rule is if you could button the top button, even if you can't move around in it good, you're good.
That's right.
Because if, let's say, you bring your rifle up and tear it in the arm or something, that happened. First of all, kudos for you to being able to tear a sack coat by bringing it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
After all, it is your fatigue coat.
Yes, they are made to be worn out. They're made to be beat up.
Yes.
They're not made.
Like
they're not like a frock coat like I'm wearing now. They're not made to look pretty. They're not made to stand out, to distinguish rank or anything. They're made to be beat up, thrown around, used as
pillows. I use mine as a pillow.
Pillows, used as blanket, used as something on the ground, used as an emergency poncho to cover up over your head.
See, the fatigue blouse is a I just had it. It is an undress coat.
Yes.
It's a work coat.
Whereas the frock coat is a dress coat. The enlisted men were issued a fatigue blouse and a frock coat.
Here, I got my research journal here, and I believe I can shed some light on that. Keep on talking, boys, until I find it.
Okay. One thing I did find too was that if you that we discussed was that if you look at historical accounts, they never ever really mention the sack coat as sack coat. It's fatigue blouse, and you never hear them mention frock coat as frock coat. It's a dress coat.
Yes.
So technically, saying sack coat or frock coat is in terms inaccuracy.
Then what is the shell jacket deemed?
That would be a shell jacket. That's what it is.
Okay, so that is the correct terminology.
That is the correct terminology, yes. But still, the shell jacket was kind of
that was still a dress coat to an extent.
It was still a dress coat to a degree, but shell jacket was what it was considered because it's got the buttons like a dress coat, but it has like the feel of a fatigue blouse.
Now, what is the difference between a shell jacket and a roundabout?
I forget the exact difference. I think it has to do with the way it's cut and the terms of button you use. So I think, don't quote me on that. I have to look into that a little bit more.
See, that's a question that I've always had because I've always been interested in having a roundabout, but not necessarily a shell coat.
Yeah.
But I myself at the moment cannot distinguish the difference between a shell coat and a roundabout.
Okay, I believe I have some information here.
Okay.
The coats. This is for frock coats.
Dress coat. Be correct here.
In your dress coat, yes, your dress. In Prussian blue.
I'm not gonna be that guy now.
In Prussian blue, a tight fit, almost knee length, trimmed in an arm of service piping. Now this is early war. This I believe was in 1853. This was what they were going on. Then you got the different, red for artillery, light blue for infantry, yellow for cav.
Orange for engineers.
Yes. And did you know the cuff of the coat actually had a name? It was the French style cuff. That's what it was called.
Yes.
But they were very popular. French style cuffs are very popular.
In 1853, the U.S. determined to model their coats off of the French uniforms. There's no actual written down reason for this. That as I understand it, it is still left up to speculation on why they did that. One of the reasons I think was because at the time the U.S. was trying to maintain France as an ally, as at the time it was a heavily armed force and a well-trained fighting force, a good ally to have. So, what would
Yes.
be the top
Mhm.
form of flattery? Model your troops after them.
It could also be the fact that now they have a large regular army and they want it to look good.
They want to look
That
professional.
too.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but the fatigue
No,
blouse.
no, see the oh,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Mine can wait. What about
Thus,
jackets?
unlike the dress coat, just like the hats, the Hardy hat was your dress hat. Your forge cap, which
And the French styled kepi
Yeah.
was your work hat.
no, actually no. The
No?
forge cap was standard issue for your work hat. The
Yeah.
What was
kepi,
the forge?
the
cap?
kepi, though widely used, was private purchase.
Huh.
Really?
Yes,
I never knew that.
Yes, the forge cap was a standard issue, non-dress hat. That's the one you would always wear with your fatigue blouse because you could use it to carry things with as deep as it is. Cav also favored them.
Which style?
I believe the bummer.
Okay.
And the Cav would even use their forge caps as makeshift buckets to water their horses.
Yep.
And
Use the chin strap as a bail for the bucket.
as I understand it, as I was once told this, I need to look into this myself. It's actually called a forge cap because the top of it can resemble a forged piping. But it was given the name forage cap because you can't. Often soldiers would forage with them. They would go through gardens and pick tomatoes, onions, potatoes, everything they could get their hands on. And put
your
it in there.
general foraging, eggs and such.
Yes, yeah.
I can see that.
Yep.
I have one of those too. They're really comfortable.
I need to get one. I don't think I look very good in a forage cap, so I mainly rock a kepi because I look better in a kepi.
Plus, you are an officer.
I believe, Red, you know how much I hate this, but I believe that you would look decent with a good quality McDowell.
I've considered getting a good quality McDowell.
I want to see Red in a good quality McDowell now.
That is the
You know
key
what?
to the McDowell because I've had one of the cheaper ones, and I did not like the McDowell. I absolutely despised the McDowell, hated the crust in the middle, and everything. I ended up getting a higher quality McDowell, and then that
You're splitting up
I will go
there.
back to my forage cap if I'm doing something other. I shall wait. I'm at the bottom of Batavia Hill.
Okay. Also, soldiers would private purchase things to express themselves. Like myself, to represent my Irish heritage, I have a harp of Erin on my cap, and that has, and the general can attone to this. In Alabama, many people noticed it right away and gave me a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
They did. They were like, "Hey, I see that harp on there. You want a drink?" I was like, "What do you got, Jameson? Let's go."
The one thing we did discuss too is that a lot of the forage cap and kepis that are made today are not made up to the standard that we would deem authentic or also economical for a reenactor. Most forage caps and kepis are made with blanket wool, which is too thick and produces way too much sweat for you.
Oh yeah.
The brim, most of the brims, they are made out of just leather. Historically, they're made out of enameled leather. Enameled leather will kind of curl after years of use, like curl upwards. It won't bend like a McDowell. It'll curl upwards like a baseball cap.
Now, it's funny you say that because one of my first hats I got reenacting, a lot of people when they start out, they have a lot of costume uniforms because one, they're easy to get a hold of and it'll just hold you over as you're starting out. Well,
that's exactly what I did, honestly, and that's what I have right now.
I basically started out in a dismounted cav unit with the Red Legs, a militia unit, so I had more liberty with my hat. So I had a costume Rough Rider hat. Like it even had elastic in the headband. That's how much costume we're talking about here. And so with that, and it was made out of that kind of wool you were talking about, Matt, because it started after Yeah, not blanket wool. The what was the other one you mentioned?
You mean the leather?
No, the one that would curl.
Enamel
Yeah,
leather.
with the enamel leather is what curls.
Yeah.
Curls.
And is the about the fourth time I wore it, I noticed the brim of it started waving and started curling up. And I thought honestly it was a bad hat to have because it was curling. I mean, I don't want that. It's going to invite the sun in on my face. Well, someone told me the same thing. It's like, no, that their hats would actually do that all the time.
Yep. If you have that issue and you want to keep it flat, I recommend if you have like a spray bottle, spritz it with water, and if you have a textbook or two, put it on top of the brim and leave it for like a week. It'll fix itself eventually.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. But the thing is, hats are supposed to be made out of what's to be considered coat wool. That's the best. That's the easy way of putting it. Coat wool. Some of these kepis and forage caps are made with blanket wool. It's way too thick, and it's really not good for you. And also,
I believe
to most of the Army, the way that most of the kepis and forage caps are produced, there should be a leather sweatband within the brim. There should be, because that was very common.
Hold on, I believe this is actually a correct hat because you notice the brim is going upward.
Can I see it real quick? Can I see the inside real quick?
Oh, yeah. I do have the leather sweatband. Ignore the sizing thing.
Yeah.
All modern day cappies have them.
Mm-hmm. See, what you can tell the difference between a good quality kepi and a bad kepi is because a bad kepi will usually be white on the inside, which means it's too thick, and most likely the leather is not enameled, and it doesn't have a sweatband.
Yeah, I've seen many people with real thick kepis, and you'll see them during the battle. Just take it off and just
wiping the sweat. That's me. Mine is a CNC, so I need to replace that obviously. So
this is also a CNC.
His stuff is made with blanket wool, in a sense.
Not as value line stuff.
I believe
it's a good midpoint.
I do believe that my McDowell that I got, the higher quality one that I got from him, is actually made of the English broadcloth.
Yeah, it is. As long as it's made with what's considered to be like coat grade, that's perfectly accurate.
Now, I do have a small little
with
gripe.
A white liner.
White liner is not technically true to authenticity, but who's really going to notice?
I do have a small.
That is just like if you're not wearing period correct undergarment.
We did discuss that too. And I'm going to tell you this: I will wear Hanes over whatever cotton drawers you bring. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I've got a
here's
pair of cotton drawers.
Here's how I look at it. I look at it from a soldier's viewpoint. If they had the option of wearing the
you cut out.
Okay, if a soldier had the option of wearing a set of cotton underdrawers or a good set of Gildan boxer briefs like I wear, I guarantee you he's going to take those Gildan boxer briefs or Fruit of the Loom or Hanes, anything modern day. He's going to look at that and go, mine.
Yeah. Because the rule now we kind of established is if the public can't see it, do whatever.
That's why a lot of people hide things in their tent. If you want your tent to be displayed, come together as a company and be like, "Hey, we need someone to borrow someone's tent to hide things in." And there's always going to be one person who goes, "Hey, yeah, I'll do that."
You can use my tent for a storage tent.
Yeah.
And what I'm working at getting is a fully period correct A-frame. That's why I used to carry.
That's another thing.
What?
It's not A-frame. A-frame is a post-war tent. It's common tent.
Oh, it's called a common tent?
It's called common tent. Common tent is historically accurate. A-frame is not.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's another thing.
Wall tent is appropriate.
Wall tent is also appropriate.
But okay, the content. That's why I used to carry two modern day army. What are they
Shelter
called?
halves.
Not shelter halves. Bags.
I carry two of
The
them.
pup tent assembly.
No, it's a bag. It's a
Sea bag.
no. Real long. You can put a lot in it. It's
You'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah, I will. But either way,
Yeah,
I
that's how it works.
replaced that with a knapsack. One, more period correct, and two, I learned that I'm putting too much in. I'm going to call it a rucksack. In my
Alice
rucksack.
pack.
What'd you say?
Alice pack.
Yeah, an APAC. I swear, we're gonna be in the middle of the stream, and I'm just gonna scream the name, and be like, "That's what it is."
Well,
That sounds about right. That's generally how it goes.
Yeah, but I replaced that with my knapsack, and I put less in there than what I actually need. I have a shelter half in there, which is a tarred shelter half, which acts as a good little lean-to if I need it.
that's a gun, basically.
Yeah, gun blanket. One thing that's multi-purpose. A lot of
Yep.
people also use ponchos.
I have the poncho style gun blanket. I like that one much better.
I have one of those as well.
Since I'm a general officer, I am going to end up acquiring a tarred raincoat.
Nice.
I need to get me one of those as well.
Colonel.
But
Colonel.
I replaced my. I'm trying so hard. Come on, there's a general issue. You put everything in there. It has 4 holes in the clip. And
I have no idea.
Son of a biscuit-eating bulldog. I know what you're
it's
talking
right
about,
on
but I
the.
can't think
Yeah,
of
it's
the name.
right on the tip. Duffel bag, duffel.
Duffel bags.
But I replaced that because I used to carry like 4 uniforms every time I went to an event. Well, then I realized if I just use like my sky blue trousers, the only thing those aren't really appropriate for are for my Eastern Theater officer's impression. So I also got a pair of dark blue. See, VA is like, I got you, bro. Duffel. But I replaced my duffel bag with a knapsack, and it works much, much better. Plus, it like I said, I carry a gun blanket. Also doubles as a little lean-to if I need to, or a cover in case it rains. Extra socks, a scarf in case I get cold in the night, or I actually carry 2 scarves. Being a diabetic, I will wrap my feet to prevent them from getting cold. A lamp, a little personal reflector lamp. A book to write in. Other than that, nothing else like a soldier would carry. It's not that heavy. I'd say it weighs maybe 3 to 5 pounds, which compared to what they were supposed to carry isn't bad. Isn't bad at all.
Nope, not at all.
Because I figured if I'm going to an event where I need a greatcoat, I'll be wearing it anyhow.
Yes.
Fair. That's fair.
I've
By the
also
way, Crusader.
Deus Vult. I also
You will take Jerusalem.
Okay. More to the authenticity aspect of things. How much do you love your cotton undershirt?
my cotton undershirt. Considering I've had this shirt ever since I started reenacting, so it's 8 years old. I love it.
Okay. Now, in most cases, for enlisted and some non-coms, and even in some cases officers, it is inaccurate to wear a cotton undershirt.
Really?
Isn't it that
Wool flannel.
shirt?
Wool flannel.
Flannel
Standard
shirt?
issue. Wool flannel is standard issue. However, I don't feel like dying under 2 layers of wool.
Yeah.
So I will,
Really?
I will brave the inaccuracy for a cotton undershirt. I'm sorry, I'm not dying.
Come to Texas, you'll see my pain.
No, you can stay in Texas. I'm happy up in Vermont.
And
That's the
some-
first time anyone has ever said that.
There are some Confederate units that were about the same, but most Western units, mainly they were whatever you had at home.
Yes.
Hey, we got the first
Western
Minnesota
Theater
sharpshooters
for
in here.
Union.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, Eastern Theater, yeah.
We got
Hello, Minnesota.
Hey boys, I just want to make a side note. We got a lot of new ones today.
Yeah, this is going
Hey,
good.
Yeah,
First
we got
Minnesota,
the first
we got
Minnesota. We
Crusader.
got Crusader. We have Roy.
Cool came in for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome,
This is a good streak.
awesome.
Keep going.
You know what? I have a small little authentic gripe that is extremely petty.
What is it?
Cigars. Now,
Yes.
hear me out on this.
Okay, so
Now, the reason why I say that is one of the easiest fixes to do. Just remove the wrapper.
Yep. The simplest thing you can do is remove
Just
the wrapper.
if you're walking around like my favorite cigar is an Oliva. I'm thinking about buying a whole box of Olivas here soon. They're a smooth cigar. If any of you out there smoke cigars, get an Oliva G Series 5, G Series V. They are amazing. They're extremely smooth. They have a wonderful taste to them. I love those. And there's been so many times I've had to catch myself because I've been so eager. It's like, oh, an Oliva finally, especially after a battle and everything. It's just like, it's just one of those things you can sit back and enjoy. And it's funny because around the neighborhood and stuff, people will look at you weird, like, oh my gosh, she's actually smoking. Meanwhile, in an event, people actually come up and talk to you about it. It's like, oh, what is that? It's like, oh, sweet, yeah, and it's fun. So and all you got to do is like I just did here. I just took off the wrapping of this cigar, and it is perfectly historically accurate.
Yep.
Within reason.
okay, here's another thing that you need to take into account. Up until you reach the rank of sergeant, cigars were expensive back then.
Oh
Yes.
Yeah.
Sergeants, they could be a little frivolous and get cigars. Most of the time when they were smoking out of a pipe, or they were smoking hand-rolled cigarettes.
Oh, Noah has a good question. Well, you got to remember, though, hand-rolled cigarettes were also a new thing. They were extremely new.
Yes, they were.
So you're not going to see like a lot of people nowadays rolling those perfect cigarettes. You're going to see a lot of loose tobacco, stuff falling out, people who's mainly smoking on paper. Noah asked a good question. He mentioned mess tents.
You mean the mess fly?
A dining fly?
Yes.
dining fly. That's
it. That would be something for General Couts and I to have. If, let's say, you were a private...
There might be a company fly, too, in some cases. Depends. If it's campaigning, maybe. But if it's like a long-term campaigning style thing, maybe.
Yeah, also...
I would see it more so with a siege.
Or a garrison. A siege or a garrison. Otherwise, you're cooking your own food on a fire unless you have a camp cook. In that case, he has to get everything ready, so it actually would be beneficial for you to cook your own food to eat when you wanted.
Yeah. Thought for you guys with the inaccuracy stuff. Contents of haversacks for enlisted. Do we have an issue with it being a carry-all man purse type thing, or is it strictly for food?
It's whatever you want it to be, because like the knapsack, there technically is no fully historical at least, account of what the contents of it are.
Yes, it is designed to carry your food, but I dare anybody to come at me and say not one single soldier carried a personal item in his haversack.
Yeah, I carry my phone kit and my journal in there too.
Yeah, I dare anybody to come up and say and argue that a soldier would never carry anything personal in there. They were strictly for food. Because I've said it once,
I've heard so many people that are,
and I'll say it a million more times. We have no idea, down to the fact of what soldiers actually carried, because we were not there. We will never truly know what it was like. All we can go off of is documents, memoirs, and manuals. That's all we can go on. Now, what a soldier does out in the field.
So what you're saying is that it would be a very similar situation to that one meme that I posted saying time travelers, where the ladies go back, I'm your granddaughter, and the guys go back, wait, I must see your putties.
Yes, because even though there is a regulation way to tie a putty, not everybody can do the same thing. So what may be good for Digger might not work for Hemingway. Hemingway may have to go off and find his own way of doing it.
Exactly.
Like my knapsack, I usually keep it strictly for food, my haversack, because I have my knapsack. Now, as we all know, later on, the knapsack was discarded. It was not needed. The soldiers felt they kept everything they needed in a blanket roll. So that
Or
means,
in the haversack.
or in the haversack.
Or
So
in various pockets.
yes,
Yep.
yes, but needless to say, the knapsack was discarded. So you're going to need something to put your personal effects. A writing kit maybe. Well, you can put your cup in your blanket roll. You can put
Yeah, you can tie it on
Oh yeah.
yeah, you can put other things somewhere else. Whereas then you can make room in your haversack for your personal writing kit. Oh, speaking of writing, because we all, as many of us know, Red is a avid writer. I like to think I have
That's
pretty
very
decent
beautiful.
handwriting. What do you guys think about the lack of pencils being used?
Yes.
I have like 40 cedar pencils, so that's all I use.
There have been many occasions I've seen people mainly use fountain pens or dip pens. Now,
That's more of a like private purchase, and also really, because you gotta have the pen, you gotta have the extra nibs, and you gotta have the inkwell for it.
That is where I think a lot of officers would come into play because they could afford it.
I don't think that would come into play with your lower officers, your officers, and possibly even up to major. I would see that being more of a thing used from possibly major, definitely lieutenant colonel up.
Yes, a general like you, Couch, would definitely have something like that.
I have pencils. I don't have the pen,
well, I'm going to fix that.
I would much rather keep the pencil. So because if I am in battle and I need to pass a message on, the pencil is handy. It's right there.
Oh no, I'm not talking about in battle.
The inkwell.
I'm talking about in back at camp. No, in battle I would
still back at camp. Yeah,
back at camp definitely, but like in battle, I agree. That's why in my officer's haversack, I have the 2 pencils, and I also need to get a pocket knife to put in there to sharpen them on the go. But back at camp, I always have a fountain pen with me. One, I'm an avid writer, so it's possible that before the war, I would have had something like that and took it with me. I could have been a scribe or some along those sorts before the war, so I could have taken that with me. I know how to write with it. 2, it would be a creature comfort from home.
Well, with your impression as an officer, you would likely have a job of a lawyer or a banker where you had the pen,
or a school teacher.
Exactly.
Or but because of the backstory we have set up for me and you, me being your second in command all the way from the cav, it's more than likely I went
with me.
Yeah, I went to school, or not even school. I was a cav officer who just so happened to fall under your command and was and whether assigned to you or chosen by you to be your second.
Yes.
That is another way of me having these things without, I'm a lawyer, I'm a school teacher, I'm a, I'm in a, or another profession along those sorts.
Yeah.
But if I was like, I'm a farmer, I'm not going to know how to write with these things. I would be lucky to know how to read.
And being an officer, you would actually have the ability to read. That's why sometimes farmers were not officers. That's why you had bankers, lawyers, teachers, mayors, sheriffs.
People think it's because
the other politicians being
people seem to have the opinion that it's because they were rich that they got these roles. No, they
did have, and a lot of times, not saying, I'm just saying more times than not. Or actually, not that. I'm saying I'm sure there are a few cases where people bought their ranks.
It's possible. It's quite possible. Or knew somebody in a high position and got it that way.
Yes.
Like I believe,
Well, or something
But I'm
similar.
sure that's also very limited.
I believe
Yes, I would say so.
Jackson's second in command was his brother-in-law.
I
But
believe that's true.
BA here asked a question. Said so the general would probably just dictate to me, and yes, but
Yes,
also
I
my
would.
job being his second in command is, as I like to put it, he's the face of the 23rd Corps. I'm the one who runs it. I'm the one who does all the paperwork, sees what the men
I'm
needs.
the face. I'm the face and the brains muscle.
Yes.
Where's the coffee boy?
No, actually, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be the coffee boy.
Too bad.
Digger,
That's who you are.
Digger, congratulations! You've been promoted to coffee boy.
Ah, is that above
Good
sergeant?
job, Digger. Good job.
Yes,
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Now,
we'll get you the special sergeant stripes that have
So-
the coffee cup on it.
Crusader just made a funny. He said, imagine burning your thumb on a coffee pot. Well, coffee pots aren't where you'll get burned, bud. Tin cups.
Burn them
I
on your
don't
pants.
know if y'all
10
can see
cups.
it, but
All the time.
I don't know if you can see it. But see that little dark spot right there on my hand?
Yeah.
That was actually from a major burn from carrying coffee in a tin cup. It was, I think, a buddy of mine who was an EMT said it was a second degree on the verge of a third degree burn.
Yeah, you don't realize how fast the heat transfers in a tin cup.
Right to your
Oh.
hand. Like it's there.
Horrible.
Like you will touch your tin cup to your hand without thinking, like, okay, this is hot. And then boom, you're burning your hand something fierce. It's boom. It
Yeah,
hurts.
I wrapped my cup in leather, the handle at least. So yeah,
Yeah, I did that.
I think I should probably do the same thing.
yeah.
It's a
I
good
just-
thing to do.
I have gotten to the
course
point that I can drink. I have gotten to the point that I can drink coffee cold, so I just let it sit there.
I like it warm in the morning. Wakes you up a little bit.
I don't really drink coffee anyway, so I've got the pass on that one.
You're
Yeah.
a terrible soldier.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a horrible soldier.
Now-
Soldiers
now-
drink coffee, some drink tea.
Now, Hemingway, seeing as that you don't drink coffee, you and the people in your unit, you could do skits essentially to help with the authenticity. You could get your coffee ration and then let's say you sell it or trade it for something else.
Yeah. That's
Oh
common.
yeah.
Yeah, that was common. It's like
Oh yeah.
let me think.
You remember in Gods and Generals, the Rappahannock between the two. That's a legitimate thing too.
Oh,
Now,
I'm
the-
sure.
the trading
that's
boats.
something that happened more times than what most people would probably care to realize.
The trading
Oh, because they
boats.
don't want to see
All
the
the
humanity
time.
behind it all.
There were actual trading boats that the Confederacy and the Union would transport back and forth. Often
I'm debating on actually making one of those.
it was often that the Confederacy, because they had a huge supply of tobacco, it was almost a standard ration at that point because they had a huge abundance of it. They would trade tobacco for coffee,
Or for some food or other things in some cases.
or
maybe sausage.
a lame horse
A
for
lame horse
Burnside.
for Burnside.
They figured. And they never ever take the deal. Come on, I'm trying to get rid of this Burnside here.
Yeah,
Nah,
Dude, but
I
his
think I'll
facial
just
hair,
keep
I don't
the
care.
horse.
hey, at least you could eat the horse.
Hey, I'll
That's
take a
right.
soldier who has no arms or legs too. I mean, I'm fine.
Take Bob.
Wow.
Another thing you also
What
got to
about Matt?
consider is
Hey, Bob was a fine soldier.
one of the things that were given throughout towns. There were, I'm going to say as it was, there were whorehouses, houses of ill repute.
Oh,
There
Oh,
were, in many cases, tokens given to the men.
I have one.
So
Brothel token.
let's say you were a married man and you were extremely devoted to your wife. Well, you're not going to want this brothel token. That guy over there
you're
has
gonna you're gonna trade it.
yeah, that guy over there has 50 cents. I'll give you this token for
That's a lot of
25
money.
cents. Yeah, I'll give you this token for 25 cents. You always start off high and then you
Work his way down.
yeah, so
Yep.
it's like I'll trade you 25 cents for this. No, it's too high. All right, come back with me.
20 cents.
15. Okay. So you just got 15 cents. And mind you, at the time, You could buy a loaf of bread and so many other
yeah.
things for 2 cents. You could buy a whole meal for 2 cents. And you're trading this little token for 15 cents? Dude, you're making money. Like, I believe it was standard officer pay was, for a junior officer, was $13 a month, wasn't it?
No,
That's
that
enlisted.
Is an
That's enlisted.
Private.
That's enlisted.
That is a white private.
Oh, see you, Minnesota.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Good,
Yeah,
fair point.
if
Good
I'm
point.
correct, $13 for enlisted. Corporals made 14, sergeants made 15, and then after that, officers made 16 and up. If I'm correct.
So think about it. You're making $16 as an officer. You're making $13 as an enlisted man, as a private. That is more than
As a
likely.
general officer.
That
As
is
a general officer, I make in the vicinity of $350 to $450 a month, depending on my rank.
Yeah.
I
think after when you get past captains make about $100 or $90 to $100. I'm correct, and then lieutenants they make like $50, $60, something like that. I gotta read up on it.
Just think about what's minimum wage now. It's
Well, it depends on
$7.75,
what-
I think, nationwide.
$7.50.
It's 7 something nationwide.
Yeah.
So that's an hour. That's just inflation over 200 plus years. So, well, not even that, 100, almost 200 years.
Yep.
160 years. So
Give or
over
take.
that, it went from $13 a month for being a soldier, and you could live comfortably on that.
Yep.
Not to mention gambling. So
Sure.
let's say you can turn that
Oh, God,
$13 a month to, with some gambling, you could turn that to $20 a month, and you could live well on that. You could buy certain creature comforts with that. You could buy your own, your own bread that isn't moldy.
And you could also afford all your luxuries at home for your family if you have
Yeah,
one.
you could send that home. Let's say you're a poor farmer. Well, I'm making, $13 a month now. I'll keep $3 of those dollars.
And if
I
you
can
were
live
from
on that.
New Jersey, if you were from New Jersey and you signed on, you would get $300 just for joining, and you get a first month pay with it.
Just as a reference for you guys, in modern day times, a private first class in the United States Army is paid approximately $1,650 a month, $1,650.
It's not much.
See, that would have been in the
If
time
you live
would
on
had.
base, that is fine.
At the time, you would have been maybe a major making $16.50 a month.
Well, more than that for a mate. Yes.
Maybe maybe in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, generals make upwards of upwards of 500. Colonels make about 150.
It also all depends. If you're the army, the leader of the Army of the Potomac, you're making a lot of money, but at the same time, that job comes with a price, not only your pay.
You're signing away all your free time and all your sanity.
Yes, and more than likely, you're going to be breaking a lot of friendships because you got to send men in the battle that you've been friends with for years, possibly decades, knowing that that there's a chance they're not making it back. So, like Matt said, not only are you giving up all your free time to run the entire army fighting, you're also burning a lot of bridges between friends, a lot of your sanity, because now you got to live with that.
Yeah, it's lonely at the top, and the top only has one place.
And that's
To go down?
No, just up there. Like it's like imagine like a pyramid. There's one person who sits at the top, but down below it, there's hundreds of places to sit.
Yeah,
yes.
That's also another general's.
You cut out.
That's another good way of looking at the army as a pyramid. You got the general up at top, but what is holding the general up there? What is the base? The base is your
privates.
Yes. So I think a lot of people are like, oh wow, he's a general. I think it should honestly be more, wow, he's a general. There's a fighting man. There's the guy who's holding this shit together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I mean, without the capstone, You know, it's like, how about this? How about this instead? An arch. An arch requires all the pieces necessary to hold itself up. The keystone being the general. However, without the base, the privates, the enlisted men, there's no place for the keystone to rest.
Exactly. That is a very good point.
Yeah, just imagine a general with just his officers.
Oh gosh, nothing would
Actually,
ever
you
get
can't
done.
say that because remember Stonewall and his officers. They were good men.
They were a fun bunch.
Just as long as nobody invites the Prussians, we should be fine.
Or the Germans, yes.
That's fair.
Well, at that point, Germany had not been unified, so it's Prussian state.
So what German
Prussian.
Federation?
Yeah.
AKA Prussia.
Just don't invite the Prussians.
So, I want to take a small moment and because I care about you boys. How's everybody doing?
Oh, I'm just fine, Ridley.
Good.
Doing all right. Got a little. Hopefully, going to be going to a bivouac here in Maine at the end of
Ooh,
next month.
Bivouac,
No.
nice.
Yeah.
Now,
Anyway,
I don't
how
know.
adventurous are you?
Huh?
How adventurous are you? How far are you willing to go to an event? Because I can tell you right now, Red and myself are willing to go a minimum of a mile. One.
I don't drive right now, so while I would like to go to the events, way out there, I don't have that ability. I rely on carpooling with the other guys.
Red, I gotta tell you something real quick before we continue. Did you know that the Battle of Gettysburg reenactment is being held this weekend?
Yes, you
Yeah,
said
we
that last.
talked
I
about
don't
that.
know why it is.
And the
Because
fact
there was a
that
politician or somebody was going to be in Gettysburg during the anniversary.
Oh,
Good God.
So
Some
it
people
got
don't get
shut
sick.
down.
Oh, well. Bryce, how are you
No,
doing? You've been
see-
very quiet this stream.
Who has been?
I'm
Bryce.
Just good.
Bryce, if you want,
Good.
at any moment, I just want to put this out there. Bryce, spread your Reb knowledge as well, because we can only mainly look at it from a
Oh,
union viewpoint.
Speaking of Reb knowledge, I have a question for Bryce.
What?
I have heard that, especially in the Confederate cavalry, I've heard a couple of instances in the Union cavalry, but I've heard that in the Confederate cavalry that the cavalrymen preferred to use women's hats when they were riding because they had the veils to help keep the dust and debris out of their face and mouth. Is this true?
Yep. That's fair.
Understandable, yeah.
It's Cab,
Because
too, remember.
I mean,
They're moving so fast and so free, you can't tell them they can't wear it.
This is true.
That's
well,
true.
Hey,
the account that I heard was it had to deal with Morgan's Raiders, and that the Morgan's Raiders would actually, when they rode into towns, would go into the boutiques to steal women's hats because they had the veils that they could pull down over their faces to keep the dirt and dust and debris out of their face.
don't let that fool you. They just felt pretty.
Yep.
This is
Those
true, too.
Kentuckians and Alabama.
all the cavalry on both sides cared about was feeling pretty.
Yeah, they didn't care about fighting. They're like, that's one of the main reason that the regiments from Ohio caught General Morgan was because his men were too long, looking at each other in hats. Like, what about this one?
They look so pretty.
There's also one more thing I'd like to say.
That's why I caught Morgan at Buffington Island.
There's also one more thing I'd like to say. Chat, if at any moment a question pops in your head, ask it. If we don't answer right away, we will get to it.
Yes.
We will do our best to get to it, and we will do our best to give the most correct.
Yay.
If we don't know it, then we'll make one up.
Bryce will
And
research
it'll sound
it.
pretty good.
Bryce will research it. He's good at that.
I'd
He
also
is.
like to point out how our stream got 12 likes tonight.
Yes. Woo!
Huzzay!
And we peaked at 13 views, I saw on my end.
Yeah.
Huzzay!
I think so, yeah.
But unfortunately, people left for dinner. Not unfortunately, people left for dinner. So I hope they come back and enjoy what they're seeing.
Dinner. Some of the guys did leave for a fantasy draft. I know I have to leave for that here in a couple minutes myself.
Ooh.
Good.
Also, there are. I do believe a lot of people focus on too much on the big points in history.
Like Gettysburg.
Not just that. It's like the weapons and everything people use. I think we need to focus more on the small things. One of my favorite things to focus on is like the fern. A lot of the ferns, like what I wear in my officer's kepi, which is a green boxwood, which was used by the 69th Irish Brigade during the Battle of Fredericksburg. They wore them in their kepis to help honor their Irish tradition, their Irish ways.
Yeah, if I'm going to be honest with you, I really don't. I know all the weapons already, so I'm like, I could care less. So I'm more like, I'm focusing more on like what day-to-day things I might be doing.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's me. I would rather focus on how a soldier would be sitting in a chair compared to how many shots a minute I could fire.
Yeah, like what's a soldier doing in his
If he has
pastime?
that chair.
Yeah, because all you see around camp is people sitting there, jackets off and everything, which, mind you, we shouldn't do.
That is acceptable. That it is acceptable in certain cases.
Not
the times that it is not is when you are in mixed company. If there is a female in camp, then you are to have either a vest on,
mm-hmm.
and if you're not wearing a vest, then you have to have your
Yes, because your shirt
coat on and the top button.
That your shirt was considered underwear. Yes. Now, if you're just sitting around with a bunch of guys, it's the same thing like a guy's locker room. We're all guys. Who cares?
Bryce doesn't know about that, though.
No, he's a private school boy.
Well, and back to the noticing the little things. We all know, but a lot of other people wouldn't know about the Ironside Brigade, how they wore their hardy hats into battle.
Mm-hmm.
They were proper boys.
They were something else. I tell you what.
Well, like with my unit, technically your dress coat is for dress occasions, and your fatigue coat is for working and for battle. My unit, our colonel bought everyone. He bought them gloves. He bought them gaiters. He bought them dress coats to be worn as much as possible.
Well, and that's not entirely inaccurate because the officer of the company commander would actually
for all how many ever men were left at that time.
We were talking about dress coats. What I'm wearing right now would be considered my fatigue blouse. My frock coat here.
Are you wearing your dress coat?
So to speak, yes. But for an officer, Aide's coat would more have.
The faster you're wearing, the higher the rank.
Yes, like we said, like we enjoy saying, the more buttons you have, the more important you are.
You know what's funny?
The guy with the most amount of buttons.
You look at an enlisted frock coat, and then you look at compared to a lieutenant general's coat. It's like there's so many buttons on it.
I was about to say, my dress coat is a 3x3 pattern for the buttons, double-breasted, so it's 3 sets of 3 on either side.
So in total, you have 18 buttons,
plus the 3 on each sleeve, as well as the 2 on my back at the base of the jacket, and the 4 on the skirt.
Yes. So you got like too many.
I have got way too many buttons.
You have too many.
I have 24 large buttons, 6 small buttons.
Oh, so you have like 30. Okay, you have too many.
Something else I think is funny is the style of buttons. Like for staff, you're rocking the mushroom buttons here.
I do not have mushroom buttons. I have standard eagles on them.
I just have standard. I really don't care.
Now, you look at a sergeant's frock coat.
You are not a staff, so you would have the standard eagle, or you're an infantryman, right?
Yeah. So
you would
eagle or eagle eye.
You would more likely have the eye.
Yeah.
Unless it's a specific state button, then you would have your state button. Go with your state button.
Now, what I think is funny is if you look at let's say a sergeant's frock, and you look at a junior officer's frock, like a second lieutenant's, there is not much difference there except for shoulder boards and stripes.
Oh, yep.
Piping if it's early.
If it's early war, but though even then, that would have been saved for dress occasions because the piping
Right.
was an extra cost. It was extra material. You're not going to damage that in battle. Whereas if you have your other frock coat, which was essentially your fatigue blouse, even then,
Yeah.
I think in my own, I gotta look this up. I really want to because I want to learn more about this. But in my personal opinion, the reason why they did that because let's say you were a sergeant major,
Sergeant Major, Major Sergeant.
and so then you get promoted to second Louis. All you got to do is take off your sergeant stripes, put on your shoulder boards, and there you
Well, that's how they did a lot of the field promotion type stuff. Another thing that a lot of people don't know is that the shoulder straps also came in what they called the subdued straps, where it did not have the gold bullion around the border. And I have seen photographs of the subdued ranks. The picture that I am seeing in my head right now is a picture of a captain sitting around with some other officers and enlisted men, and on his fatigue blouse, he's wearing a fatigue blouse. On his fatigue blouse collars, he has taken one of these subdued straps and cut, or he has taken one that had the gold bullion on it, and he has cut just the material around the two bars and placed them on his collars. That is where his ranks were, not on his shoulder.
Yes, I've seen that. I've even seen some sew their officers' insignia in subdued form right onto their shirts.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Another thing, we strive for authenticity. That's what our main goal is. I think a lot of people have lost that spirit to act in the play appropriately. Now, when I say act in the play, that's what reenactors are. We're actors in a play. We are just trying to do our best to show.
We are realistic LARPing, as I've had it called.
I think it would be nice. You see the camp street, you see the company streets, but you also see people sitting up with their officers. Well, during the times of public, I would like to see more, no enlisted up there.
Segregation between the enlisted
because
with the officers.
That's how it was. You're not going to see a private walking up to, a 3-star general going, "Hey, bro, how you doing? How the kids?" You're never. If you see that, it's rarely. And that private did something outstanding that made them stand. That they stood out, and the general wanted to see them personally.
What brings that to mind is when Grant was transferred to the Eastern Theater after he became General of the Army. He was riding along. He saw a private abusing a horse, and he rode up along, and he's wearing his fatigue blouse. He rode up there, and he started to berate the private, and the private's like, "And who the hell do you think you are?" And that's when the moment Grant realized he wasn't in his dress uniform, he was in his fatigues, and he had to explain to him who he was, and it did not end well for the private.
No, the private was like, "Uh-oh."
All right, gentlemen, I gotta go. It was wonderful talking with you guys.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I hope to be back.
Let's hope so.
I'll
see you guys later in the Discord.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to
Bye.
One thing too. Couch, you carry a canteen, right?
No.
I'm having issues trying to find the canteen that I want.
Trust me, I can tell you he does not.
I typically, as general, I'm standing at the back of the field. I don't really have a canteen. I use Boy as my canteen. I use Red as my canteen.
Yep.
Red, what color is your? Do you have a canteen too?
I have 2. Well, technically 3.
What color is it?
The one I use for my officer's impression is a wood canteen.
Okay, and what about the other one?
It is sky blue.
Okay, now if your canteen is navy, is the regular standard issue blue or the sky blue, it's inaccurate.
This I do know.
It should be jean wool.
it should be Gene Wool because the Army's not going to bother wasting the time when they could be making pants or jackets.
Now,
There was one maker of the canteen that had the chain for the cork and had a sky blue canteen cover.
It was either New York or Philadelphia, I think.
Yes, there was only one company that was making them like that. All the other ones had, I do not recall what the attachment device for the cork was.
more than
But
likely
they were
string.
all Gene Wool.
More than likely string.
Most likely, yes.
Yeah.
Or a stick.
Or yeah, a fiber string or a leather.
Or a stick. I've seen many cases where
that's one thing I will be investing in is I think I should just get a new canteen altogether because the spout on mine's starting to rust a little bit, and I'm trying to clean it, but it's never staving away too long, so I might just get a new one.
I would change the covers on my canteen, but I'm just too lazy.
I'm not when it comes to sewing. I'll just go at it.
And I've already had to sew one strap onto my canteen.
That's rough.
So
No doubt.
I'm like, you know what? I could just imagine having to get the needle in between the covers. So I'm just like, you know what? Yeah.
Hey, you don't know it? You can't do it? Find someone who can.
Oh, we do have a seamstress.
Yep. And the one thing, some things that should be like common knowledge for authenticity is when you're wearing suspenders, don't be having like, those elasticy ones you bought at Walmart.
Yeah, the ones where you can go flop.
You can go buck. Okay? Because the same suspenders that do the exact same thing cost like $3 more on any seller. So honestly.
And they will last so much longer too.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
If it's your first event, no issue.
Yeah,
if it's your 80th event, I have an issue.
Use cheater suspender if you need to in the beginning. That's an absolute.
Or if your main one's broke, I would be okay with that.
And if you're going to go along with that, do not use anything that is the color purple.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you know why that is?
Yes, only the extremely rich could afford purple.
Because the way that they made purple dye was using shells from one place. The shells came from one place somewhere on the Mediterranean. I'm not exactly sure. The shells were worth more than their weight in gold, and only the rich could afford them. And it wasn't until nearly the turn of the century that a synthetic purple was made on accident.
Nice.
I mean, for the longest time throughout history, purple was the color of royalty.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so you shouldn't really wear it at all.
Right.
No, it was usually for late night when you're about to get ready for bed, or for robes, even if you just got up. But
Or
yeah,
capes.
Capes. You wouldn't just wear it around because people would want to steal it.
Absolutely.
I mean, shoot, and then resell it.
They'll probably sell it back to you too, which is the funny part.
Yeah, hey, I got this beautiful purple cape. It looks very similar to one I lost. Nah, man, nah.
It's a one of a kind.
Thing too. You know how like when you look at people with like the what is it? One sec. What was it? There's variations in the color of blue.
Indigo?
Like with the jackets and stuff like that. Mainly, indigo is a very, very, very impressionable dye. Depending on barometric pressure, humidity, temperature, the dye may turn out to be a multiplicity of colors.
I applaud your use of the word multiplicity.
Yeah. So, however, indigo can turn a lot of shades of blue. However, if it turns purple, it's not indigo.
No, it's not.
One sec. I have the thing around here. Is it this one? I forget what it's called. It's one that's like 50% cheaper.
And that's the other thing is that there were so many different makers of the uniforms that their dyes were not exactly the same. So a variation in colors between units is not an uncommon thing. let alone
Not at
a
all.
variation in colors between soldiers.
Yes.
Not at all. So to say like to be like, if you ever encounter one of those people, just be like, hold up a sec. Indigo is very, very impressionable. So it's something you could relax on. Just be like, okay.
You know, we
Okay.
were talking earlier about the people who are extremely strict and whatnot.
Mhm.
When it comes to sword knots,
Phew.
I don't think.
I say that as long as it is attached to the handle, don't
Yes.
care.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know there's a proper way of tying one, but if you're a field officer and you wish to have your cord on there, you're not.
That would again fall back towards what we were talking about earlier, with the putties. What works for one won't work for another.
Yes, and you don't want it flopping around a whole lot. If let's say you just were in too much of a hurry, I suppose I could say, to where you didn't tie it properly. You're going to tie it on there right quick, and you're going to wrap it around to where it's not flip-flopping everywhere.
Yes.
Because that could hinder your own. Let's say a man's charging at you with a bayonet. Well, you parry, and then that sword knot comes around and hits you in the face. Well, naturally, you're going to glance back and close your eyes. Well, that just left you an opening to die. So either you would have it tightly secured down, or you wouldn't have it at all. Mine is a bit. It hangs a bit, but at the same time, I'm a staff officer. If I'm fighting, then the general I have
We're
severely
in
messed
deep
up,
doo-doos.
and we deserve what is ever coming our way.
One thing we did discuss though is how expensive uniform is. Regardless of impression, the uniform is going to cost you quite a bit of money.
Right.
One thing you can do if you want to save a lot of money is basically there are some items you can cheap out on, and there could be crappy Pakistani made stuff, but it actually is extremely authentic. Among them, the pants. You can cheap out on the pants because out of all the reproductions out there, they really have not messed up the pants. So you could go with either the crappy Pakistani made ones or the high quality American.
Now, if let's say you were a seasoned reenactor, and you know what you were looking for, and you know how long pants usually last you, go ahead and get yourself some good quality pants that you know you're invested in the hobby at this point.
Yes, if you're invested, go ahead and shell out the money for the good stuff.
I recommend very, 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 very good, very American, and very cheap pants. Milk Creek Sutler, $50. All hand sewn,
Nice.
all American.
Yes.
They'll last you at least 10 years.
I will repeat a quote from a fella that my dad knew, and the quote is, "It only costs 10% more to go first class. So if you're going to spend money, go ahead and get the better."
Yeah.
Milk Creek Sutler, $50, American made. Can't go wrong with that.
No, you cannot.
This pretty damn good. And also, some things you can also do to better your impression that, in terms, could not cost you money. For one, haircut and a shave. You can do it at home. You can have your parents or a friend do it for you. Haircut, because statistically, you have hair, you're going to get lice, be more accurate. Plus, your headgear will fit a little bit more easily.
Yes.
Sewing. You could hand sew some things. I forget the name of the company, but you can actually buy all the reenactor stuff. They'll send it to you. They'll custom cut it, and you will save about 35% of your money hand sewing it yourself, and it'll be twice as authentic because it was hand sewn.
Another thing,
Gentlemen, I hate to do this.
You have to leave?
Gentlemen, I hate to do. Yes, I'm going to have to leave. I am currently about to be in mixed company, so I shall converse with you, gentlemen, later. And it has been an absolute privilege and honor, and etc. etc.
That being said, I do not
Et
think
cetera.
we should disclose everything in this one podcast.
Okay, that's fine. I still have a few more things, and I have another topic for next week, so yeah.
So with that being said,
I do believe that. I believe that we can do a part 2 for this conversation.
Yes, we
Yeah,
could.
we're going on like 2 hours now, so yeah.
Yes, that being said,
Sorry, first guy's getting bored, needs to sleep.
there are a few channels I want to shout out. Say them with me if you can.
No.
General Cody HD, Calibrated Core, Brandon S. Civil War Digital Digest, coming to the East United States Sharpshooters, and of course the Townsends. They are amazing people. I'm actually about to order a ring from them tomorrow. Memento Mori ring. It's Latin for remember your morals. There's also a sigil where you could enclose. It's really cool looking. It's beautiful. Also, CNC Sutlery. Their link is in the description, just as the Discord and my Patreon. Do not feel obligated to make a pledge. If you wish to, thank you. That's just another way of saying thank you, and possibly leading up to better content in the future. I am extremely grateful for my 3 Patreons that pledge right now. We have General Cody HD, the man himself. We also have FRA, and of course Hemingway. He is a top pledge right now. He is, as a top Patreon pledge, can access.
Yes.
Yes. Matt and I also have access to him. That's just because we're the admins of the channel, of the Discord. That is the only reason why.
I run everything.
Matt is my second in command.
I'm still working on the history bot. It's half. And
That
Clink
is, I think it would be a good time to disclose that. We are working on a history bot to where every day we get an update on this happened this day. It's coming along
on this day.
It's coming along, and it will be, when we get it, you'll know, because you'll be getting this happened this day all over the place.
Yeah, still working on it, and Clink is not really helpful.
Bryce, do you want to say anything?
He's muted and deafened, so he can't say anything.
Okay, Matt, anything else you would like to add?
Well, for one, we'll be on Discord right afterward. Maybe we'll watch a movie or just, say some things we can't say on the YouTubes. If you want, if you ever have any questions about reenacting or Civil War or history in general, we're always on Discord. Someone will answer it, and, we'll have a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, we always do.
Also, Archer, how's Mark Zucker Brothers? He doesn't drink coffee. I have a hard time believing that. All right. Let's just end it.
We will see you guys on the next. Yes, the Air Force Museum video. I am putting it together. I am taking my time with this one because I want it to be incredible. There's even I'm going to tease it right here.
Well, if it's anything, if
someone speak.
I was going to say that if it is going to be of the same quality as our trip to Alabama, I believe it will be absolutely stellar quality.
It is, and there will even be some Civil War information.
There are Civil War artifacts there, isn't there?
There is something out there that a note written by a very special person from the Union, so to speak, that is out there. I'm not going to spoil it. I may tease it a little bit, but that's all you guys are getting for now.
All right, gentlemen. It has been a pleasure and an honor, etc., etc., etc. Good night.
ETC.
Good night, ladies and germs. We will see all of you either on the Discord, the next video, or the next live stream. See ya.
Yeet.